These are the plaintiffs, David Rusgrove and Dylan Pilot. David says he and his girlfriend rented an apartment from the defendant. They paid their rent on time. They were great tenants, and they want the $2,800 that's rightfully owed to them returned. That's why they're suing. This is the defendant, Paula Crawford. She says the plaintiff, David, lied to her and didn't disclose he had a criminal record, and she wanted them out. Bottom line, they left the place with damages that far exceeded their deposit, and she owes them zero. She's accused of taking advantage of tenants.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiffs claim that the defendant owes them $2,800 and will not pay. But the defendant says, well, it's true that she rented the plaintiffs a rental, but found out later that they had a criminal record, so she's not paying them anything. It's the case of crime doesn't pay.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Rusgrove and Ms. Pilot, you are suing Paula Crawford for your $1,400 security deposit back. You're actually suing for double that you claim you're entitled to because she has wrongfully withheld the security deposit from you. Talk to me. How long did you live there?
I think we were there for a total of 3 months altogether.
3 months. And what happened to shortcut? Did you have a year lease, or were you there on a month-to-month, or?
It was month-to-month.
It was month-to-month.
Sure.
Okay. And did you decide to leave, or did she decide that you guys needed to leave?
Oh, she was making our stay very unpleasant because of my criminal record.
Okay. And did she claim to not know about it?
Yes.
And
she knew.
And you, okay, so but was she claiming to not know about it, or was she just giving you grief about it because she learned more details? What was she doing? Because if you're saying she knew about it, why was it all of a sudden a problem?
Because people at the barn had found out and made a big deal about it. So.
Okay, so when you say people at the barn, you mean this is a place that you were renting that happens to have attached to it a barn with horses, stalls for horses? Okay, so other people who had their horses there were kicking up some dust, and then she started to give you grief about it. So did she ask you to leave, or did you decide to leave, or both?
She pretty much told us she wanted us out of there the same day. But I had started moving out, but I had told her I wasn't going to completely move out until I got my deposit back.
What was the day that she told you? Well, you don't have a right to say that because that's not what the law is. The law is that they have 30 days after you move out to inspect, get receipts, get estimates, and that's for the protection of the tenant as much as for the landlord, because the whole idea is that they're not going to say, oh, it's $1,000 in damage when it's only $120 in damage. They have to get actual estimates, figure it out, and then send you an accounting of what the damages are. So you don't get your deposit before you leave. But I'm asking you, when did you move out?
I think we were out on June 6th, but if this is
Did you pay June?
No, we moved in. If you look at the receipts, we were paid up until then. That's why we got out that.
Okay, so when you say if I look at the receipts, did you submit receipts that show that your rent is due on the 5th? I guess that's what you're saying, right?
I think we always paid early, so I don't remember the exact date.
Right. No, most people's rent is due on the 1st of the month, and that covers the month ahead. Do you have something that would show me that yours is different? Yours starts from the 5th to the 5th?
If you look at the day we gave the deposit also in the receipts, that'll show you about roughly when we moved.
Okay. Yep. I got it.
There will be a deposit.
Just a second. How much were you paying in rent?
$1,400 a month.
Okay. So on March 2nd, you give $2,800. And what was that representing? Well, it says it right here. 1 month rent and 1 month security. When did you move in? Do you remember?
I think we moved in around the 6th or 7th. That's what I mean. Like I said, we always paid early. It was never really a discrepancy of the rent.
When was the rent due, Ms. Crawford?
The rent was due actually it was written up on the 2nd of the month. They moved in on the 2nd, and they also moved their horses in on the 2nd. Right,
and I do see the receipt for when you say move the horses in, separate to this issue of renting your place, they also were renting a horse stall. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, correct. I see that that's on March 2nd. So when would they pay their rent?
On the 1st of the month, as you
like everybody else.
Subsequent.
All right. So did they pay June?
No.
Okay. And when did you ask them to leave?
On or about May 12th.
Okay.
That's when I became aware of this
Okay.
problem.
Okay. And they agreed to leave?
He said he would be out by the 1st.
Of June?
The 1st of June.
All right. And then he wasn't?
They were not.
Okay. So you end up keeping the $1,400 because according to you, what?
The damages they did, that wasn't even accounting for the rent that they didn't pay in June, which they really owed. Even if they did a per diem, they would still owe while they occupied the apartment.
Okay.
But they did not. That was not assessed. The complete list of itemized list of damages is what you probably see in front of you.
Okay, so you gave them an itemized list. When did you, this is just, typewriting on a piece of paper, so I have no idea when you sent this to them. When did you send this to them?
I mailed that out before the 30 days was up.
Did you receive this?
Yeah.
Okay, so it has all of these complaints about the carpet was burned, and then you're mixing up, I'm keeping your security deposit on your rental for stuff having to do with the barn, which you have absolutely no right to do. Those are two separate contracts.
Your Honor,
go
may I
ahead.
say
Yes.
something before we get ahead?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to note that the receipts were paid early for the rent. She asked us to get out within less than 30 days. If you refer to the police report, she never mentioned late rent because I paid up until the day I was supposed to get out.
No, it's not a matter of late rent. What I want to know is, you paid the deposits and everything, and you have, everybody's rent is due on the 1st of the month. So if it's due on the 1st of the month and you say you're going to be out by the 1st of the month and then you're not, you're like, why? Okay, but why would you get 5 days free rent? There is no, there is nothing to support the premise that your rent goes from the 5th of the month to the 5th of the month. In fact, what you told me to look at doesn't even say that. It's on the 2nd. So no matter what, at best, your rent is due on the 2nd. So but you didn't pay the rent. So why would you be suing for double rent when you know that you didn't leave until after the time that you would owe rent already for the next month?
Can she prove that we did not pay up until we left?
Up until yes, because you admitted you didn't pay June and you admitted you left June 5th, right?
If you look at the police report, it shows the day we left. I really don't know.
It's June 5th.
You have the police report.
I do have the police report. And the day you left, the day the police went there, is June 5th.
Welcome back to the People's Court. The plaintiffs say they are owed $2,800 from the landlord in the form of a security deposit, but the defendant is saying, these plaintiffs were bad news and damaged a lot in fits of anger. Let's go back into the courtroom.
So let's look at the police. Why were the police called there?
Because I left, if you look at the police report, there's pictures. I left a makeshift bed and stuff in there. Rent-A-Center had just come that day to grab the stuff. I was not ready to leave yet. She changed the locks on the apartment. And we were at the neighbor's house, actually I was helping him out for less than an hour, and we came back and she changed the locks. I called the police. They didn't really want to do anything, so they pretty much said, get your stuff and get out, because she told them that was the agreement we had. And if you'll note in there,
why did you leave? You said, I left a makeshift bed in there. Why did you do that? Because everything else is clean and out. Yeah.
Well, I wasn't out of there yet, as stated. I wasn't.
No, yeah, but why really? I think your exact words were, because I wanted to make sure I got my security deposit. So tell me about that.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Well, so let's be frank with each other.
She had stated that we weren't going to get it, and we were going to have to go through all this to get our money back. So, I mean, obviously, I tried to enter into evidence due to the situation of her trying to kick us out in less than 30 days. I had to accrue massive hotel expenses that I couldn't enter into evidence.
Yeah, but your remedy for that is not to get out. In other words, if you're entitled to X amount of days to get out, it's different state by state. If she didn't give you enough of a notice, then nobody's going to evict you. You can stay for the full 30 days. You agreed to leave, and you took all your stuff out. You just wanted to leave one thing in, so you had leverage to make her give you the security deposit that day. But that, and you were candid about that, and that's not how it goes. But my greater concern isn't any of that. Let's assume, because a police officer documents that the place was clean, and then she has all these complaints about it. So let's forget about the complaints about it not being clean, and let's talk about what's concerning me, which is you're there past the time that you can be there without paying June rent. That's the part that concerns me. All right, well, from what I am seeing, you're not only not entitled to double your security, you're entitled to none of it because you stayed after the first of the month or after the second of the month, because there's a police report documenting that you didn't leave until the 5th. So my verdict in this case is for the defendant.
So you heard the judge. She finds for the defendant in this case. Mr. Rusgrove, Ms. Pelote, what do you think about this?
I think it's bull.
Goodbye. Okay. All right. Well, that's what the plaintiff thinks. Ms. Crawford, let me ask you. You prevailed in this lawsuit. Were you concerned about it? Did you think you were going to have to pay it or not?
No, I didn't feel like I did because I was looking at my receipt book here, and even May's is dated the 5th. I mean the 1st, 5/1. And they told me they would be out. They would be gone. I expected them to be gone by the 1st, and they were not.
All right. Very good. Well, you're in the right and you prevail.
Okay, Doug. So in a situation like this, the thing I want to talk about is that when you deal with a landlord that you're not getting along with, or if you're a landlord and dealing with tenants you're not getting along with, you got to put everything in writing because they are going to dispute what you said if they're angry at you. Just assume that. Put it in writing every step of the way.
What's your secret to parenting with regard to your children?
I think a big part of your success as a parent stems from your background in psychology, because that's where your psychology degree pays dividends. That when I'm clueless about how to motivate someone or how to cheer them up, get them back on track, you always seem to find a way to push the right buttons and kind of bring them around.
I think that's more a matter of emotional intelligence than a degree in psychology.
Probably a little bit both. Okay, I'm guilty as charged. Right, no emotional intelligence either. All right.
It's just a matter of knowing your audience. But you're a great father, and there's a lot of good cop, bad cop in our house.
Oh, definitely, and I don't mind playing good cop, bad cop, as long as I'm always
the good
cop.
That's right. That's exactly
Which
right.
is how it always turns out.
Yeah, I'm always
Thank
the
God for
disciplinarian, and you're the fun guy who's,
Thank God.
playing hide and seek and crawling onto the roof.
Somebody's got to do it.
Yeah.